So, yesterday, Clemson played Ohio State in the college football playoffs, semifinals. And there was a bit of a buzz going up to this game, especially considering last year Clemson beat Ohio State in pretty much the same circumstances to go to the finals, which they did end up losing. But it was a contentious game, maybe some iffy calls, very close game. Ohio State was fired up to play again. Clemson really didn't want to change the script and lose this time. And Coach Dabo Swinney sort of stoked the fires of Ohio State's anger towards them and last year by saying in the coaches' poll that Ohio State was the 11th best team and saying they didn't deserve to be in the playoffs because of the schedule they played. Ohio State came out. They were really angry about this. Justin Fields, Ohio State's quarterback, actually had the performance of his life, throwing 6 touchdown passes and I think 385 yards of passing. He had two passes over 50 yards for touchdowns, which is absolutely insane, or like at around 50 yards. I mean, he had the game of his life. In fairness to Trevor Lawrence, he was decent. Their defense was struggling after Skalski got ejected for a bad hit on Justin Fields, which left him injured in the ribs for the rest of the game. And despite those injuries, he played on, showed a lot of resilience. He showed the passion that was brought by everyone doubting them, everyone thinking they're underdogs. And, I mean, they felt like they were disrespected and they wanted to come out and show that they did belong there. And they wanted to keep going. They wanted to face Alabama in the final. Alabama just walked over Notre Dame. And Ohio State ended up beating Clemson by 21, 49-28. It's a high-scoring game, but in the second quarter was really when Ohio State pulled away. Because end of the first quarter, you got 14-14. Second quarter, Ohio State scores 3 touchdowns on the bounce. So then it's 35-14, and that's basically game because it's very difficult to come back from a 21-point deficit unless you're playing against the Falcons in the NFL. Because then it happens like every week. But yeah, so they didn't come back. They ended up winning by 21, same margin that they were up by at half. Both teams had 2 more touchdowns in the second half. Clemson was hoping to make a comeback, but Trevor Lawrence fumbled it 3 times, I think all in the second half. Of course, Ohio State only recovered 1 of the 3 fumbles, but still, I mean, you could blame the O-line, or you could. It's hard to say. Clemson's O-line wasn't good, and when Trevor Lawrence had chances to throw, he did throw pretty well. And Ohio State did a good job of protecting Justin Fields after he got hit in the ribs. And he was able to make the plays. He made the throws despite being injured, kind of, and he fought through it and had probably the game of his life, I would say. This creates a good matchup in the final, Alabama versus Ohio State. Alabama tend to win these a lot. They're very good. I mean, it's Alabama. Like, everyone who watches college football knows Alabama and what they can do and what they can consistently do. Nick Saban, one of the greatest coaches in college football history. I won't say the greatest because there's definitely others up there. And Ohio State, big program. When they're the underdog, they tend to perform because they don't like getting disrespected. They don't like being the underdog. If Ohio State could win it this year, that would be amazing for Justin Fields' draft stock. It'd be amazing for the whole team, for the coach, Ryan Day, to show that he really is able to replace Urban Meyer as the guy in Columbus. And that's sort of my reaction to the Ohio State versus Clemson game. See y'all later.